I'm going to be talking about AI like most everyone touched on this morning. And I wanted to start off with an oldie but goodie. Does anybody remember receiving an urgent email or text saying that your boss or CEO of the company needs you to purchase $2,100 Starbucks gift card? This was a very unsophisticated but believable fraud that happened in the early aughts. The era of artificial insistence in corporate crime is now here. The compliance departments must ensure that they're prepared. Last month, the Department of Treasury issued a detailed report highlighting that AI is redefining cybersecurity and the fraud in the financial services sector. Here's a recent example. The Hong Kong office of an unnamed multinational recently lost $25 million when several fraudsters joined a live video conference posing as firm personnel. They already deceived the employees on the call by using deepfake software to impersonate colleagues, including the firm's CFO. Companies' existing compliance programs and business risk mitigation policies may no longer be sufficient to address emerging AI risks. There are three key areas that I'd like to talk about this morning: real-time deepfakes, AI-enabled barrier evasion, and manipulation of the company's AI models. These three areas arise from the availability of new tools, but the tactics are well known to corporate compliance personnel. Several corporate mitigation strategies can allow companies to address these new, rapidly expanding threats. First of all, deepfake technology, which convincingly replaces audio or video of one person's likeness with the likeness of another, and they have introduced a new wrinkle to these schemes. Threat actors often impersonate a company executive or vendor and use a fake or hacked email to trick a company's employees into sending money. Training efforts have therefore emphasized email as a vehicle for potential fraud and mitigation policies. Deepfakes have amplified the risk of impersonation. Instead of an email, suppose a target employee receives a text message from the CFO directing the employee to join the call. Preventing improper access to sensitive information is a task similar to many corporate compliance departments. AI tools have made it easier for bad actors to discover these gaps. Corporate chatbots, for instance, can be given access to internal corporate data that employees access by chatting with AI systems. The chatbot given access to these sensitive data might divulge in response to a routine prompt without employees even knowing the possibility. Lastly, AI systems are being increasingly relied upon drive vital business processes such as sales and investment models. Companies' recent shift to AI-enabled key performance indicator, for instance, means that AI systems are being used to gain a holistic sense of their business performances. Here's a couple of other examples of what could go wrong. Rogue employees might try to tamper with these systems, for example, manipulating algorithms and artificially boosting their performance matrix. Here's a mitigation strategy for deepfakes. To address the risk associated, companies should consider implementing the following measures. First of all, from a training perspective, employees who transfer large sums of money and send out confidential information or handle passwords should be trained in deepfake technology. These employees should be trained that any request made by audio or video could be proof fraudulent, and it has one of the following hallmarks. One, it arises from a typical source. Two, it involves a large sum of money or highly sensitive information. One, an employee keeps the request confidential or is asked to not tell anyone, and then an element of urgency like the initial example above. All these involve transfers of funds to a new bank account or confidential information to an unfamiliar address. Training should also include ways to detect real-time video deepfakes, like asking the person to turn to the side, as the current technology struggles to generate realistic profile views. Any suspicious request should be independently viewed by one or more of the following means. A person should be face to face for verification. The requester may display or may be asked to display two pieces of identification, implementing in predetermined code words or challenge questions, and requiring a second person to sign off on certain categories. Companies should ensure that existing information walls and permissions are applied to the data made available by the systems. Companies should follow the least privilege principles by limiting access to sensitive information only to those employees who genuinely need to interact with it. And finally, companies can use red teaming, which is a process of engaging a team of experts to probe systems of vulnerabilities. Here is to access the threat of model manipulation. Companies, departments may consider the following policies. Dual authorization. Companies can limit the amount of single employees to a certain system, and this improves their ability to detect improper changes as well as inadvertent errors made by the system. The maker checker process, for example, requires that a checker approves any changes that seem to be implemented to the system. All tools for their promise also provide evolving ways to exploit a company's vulnerability and to compromise their systems for personal benefits. Corporate compliance departments should consider these heightened risks in their evolving AI situations and include risk mitigation as they plan their strategies. So hopefully by taking some of these actions, we will avoid the situation of being asked to go out and get Starbucks. Tom?